Any comments or correspondence? I hear none. Public appearances or hearings? No. Reapproval of minutes, 11/11/24.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Okay, a motion a second. Any changes, corrections? I hear none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. I didn't see any variances, licenses. Report of DPW director. Anything?
Reports in the packet.
Just comment, Mr. President.
Mike?
You guys did awesome this weekend.
Mike?
Everybody did.
Your whole crew, the lights, everything was just amazing.
Thank you.
A lot of hours, Mike, we appreciate the 15-hour days you put in.
And the ice rink and.
Put that ice is beautiful, and Jonathan was there.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be part of it.
Fire Chief Rosie's couldn't make it tonight. I don't see police. Yeah, we got agenda.
Yours is coming up.
Administrator, anything?
Not this time, sir.
Okay, moving on. We got no committee, commissions, board appointments, Explore Waterford, Fox River Commission, Board of Health,
Nothing to report.
Sewage District.
Nothing report, we're just finishing up the last couple of bucket items on there, and we're getting ready to do expansions, fully complete, 50% increase in capacity for the Wisconsin State Sewage District.
Fantastic. Library board, anything?
Heather, anything you want to report?
Is it okay if I approach?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Heather.
No, that's okay. I was talking with a finance committee member, so excuse me, that was my fault. Yes, I would just like to give you a couple of some statistics from last month. So last month we had 8,443 checkouts in the month of November. Let's see, since January 1st, we've had 103,765 checkouts. And in November, we had 3,429 visits. And since January, we've had 42,670 visits. In the month of November, we had 35 total programs with 953 participants. And then lastly, this was just brought to my attention. Somebody on social media posted to the Waterford, Wisconsin moms. It was an anonymous member, and this person said, "The mom guilt is terrible. Lately, I felt so overwhelmed I could cry. Staying at home with my kids is one of my biggest blessings in life, but it's also the most lonely. I don't know how to get out of this funk I'm in." And then somebody responded to this person and said, "I was in the same boat. I started going to the Rochester and Waterford Library. There are so many kids programs and adult resources. It's awesome and free. My daughter just started school full-time and I'm still at the library weekly. I also walk at Case Eagle Park and do yoga. Exercise is important for good mental health." So I thought that was worthwhile to share. Other than that, that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Don, I have just a question. This is something that we talked about years ago, about getting digital subscriptions, getting funds for, if someone checks out a digital item.
Mm-hmm.
Has the county talked about that at all? About you guys getting some funds for the digital checkouts?
So actually, yes, this has been something that's been very prevalent in all of the Prairie Lakes library systems, like the forefront of their minds. But actually, when you do the math, and if you look at the cost per circ, our reimbursement level would actually go down slightly by having counting digital circulations,
Huh. Interesting.
which surprised us a lot. So,
And that would be funded by the state, not the county, correct?
the
counties.
county, yeah.
Each county has to fund from
Okay.
other users within the same county.
Yeah, that was, for years and years, because the federal government defines a circulated item as something that's physically returned or checked out and returned, not a file, an e-file. So we thought, oh, this will be great. Glory days are coming. And no, it wasn't. It didn't pan out. It was as we
disappointing.
thought. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So,
Well,
Yeah,
You're
one
welcome.
more thing, I'd just like to thank Jackie and the rest of people, friends of the library that sat there all day long and sold pretzels to raise some money, so a big
Thank you.
shout out to the friends of the library for manning that booth and doing a great job. So
Thank
just
you
please
very
pass that
much.
on.
Thank you. I can share with you and the board that the Friends of the Library made in profits about $1,060. So from selling pretzels.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really nice. So thank you. I know, Pat, you lent them your a pizza grill, and then we had lots of little toaster ovens, and it worked really well. I was there Friday afternoon, and it was a pleasure to be there. So
That's
very good.
thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
You're welcome.
Thank you. One thing. Just to follow up to Heather, as you all know, 2 years ago, we started Waterford Jam Fest, and Heather and the Friends of the Library was the first recipient that, I believe that year we raised just shy of $50,000. This past year, we did, the recipient was Waterford High School Music Department. And we met today, and 2025, the recipient will be Waterford River Rhythms. So Jam Fest, next August 15, 16, 17, all the funds will be donated 100% to River Rhythms. I think there's a new stage being talked about and whatnot, so
Very cool.
we're happy that the money is, and it makes sense, music festival going to River Rhythms, so.
Thank you, Troy. I'll back up too. One comment I found out today, which is some excellent news under the police, is you guys all remember Lieutenant Jeske used to come give all our reports, which kind of get caught up in that town police fiasco. He now works for the Capitol Police at the Wisconsin Capitol, which is, I mean, Lieutenant Jeske was great in our community, so I just wanted to tell everybody that. I was excited to see that. Couldn't have been too bad working at the Capitol. Anyway, move on to new business. Discussion on Explorer program for the fire department. Kylie? Looks like you did a lot of work on this.
Yes, I did.
Thank
Did you all have a chance to look over what was put in there? Does anyone have any questions at all?
So by way of, looking at the work, this will cover both the fire department and the EMS departments. So we'll back and just clean that up a little bit, for your original work. So this was talked about in the previous meeting, having a, Explorer program / ride along program. Here it is, right?
Do you have any questions?
It's an excellent concept.
Great,
Thank
nice job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, I have one question.
Yes.
Is this just like a shift program, or are they overnight?
So it'll be during the day, second and fourth Saturday of the month. It'll be usually from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. unless we have like a planned field trip somewhere. So I've been looking into going to the Flight for Life base in Waukesha so that they can go see that. But it's more of just like an introduction into the fire service. I'm not looking to like instruct these kids, anything like that. I just want them to show like all the fun intricacies of the job.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Colin.
I need a motion on this.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and second, any more discussion? I will make a comment as, after the fire department got restructured, this was one of the goals I heard from numerous people to get back into the community, into the high school and that, and get more community involvement. A lot of the volunteers there, some of them still here, that's how they got involved in starting, so it's excellent. Thank you guys for spending the time and getting this back. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Discussion on a recommendation of Plan Commission regarding a CSM request from Neumann Homes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Any more questions, discussion? Pretty cut and dry?
It's just cleanup.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Discussing on a corporate boundary plan between the village of Waterford and town of Waterford. Consider a motion to adopt the resolution, which is basic statutory. Then a motion to adopt the corporate boundary agreement. I'll start with a little bit of background here. This is far from new. Adam and I have been working on this along with 3 other town board members for a year and a half. Over 100 hours in meetings. Basically, pretty much every week. Some weeks we went around, a vacation or something, but this has been through a lot, back and forth. And I'll be honest to say, this is not a win for either community. It's a win for the community of Waterford. It's not one-sided where, oh, here we go, the village, the town. There's a lot of aspects in this agreement that life safety issues that are huge and that hasn't needed to get addressed. We got input from and support from all the stakeholders, everyone we could think of. Schools, the DPW, the grade school, the high school, the fire departments, I can't even think, from administrations, you name it, everybody we could think of, we asked about this and asked to chime in and give us their thoughts on it and show it. The sewage districts, especially the engineers, all were part of this. We had 4 public meetings at one was at the town hall and 3 was at the high school, which were all online, and they were also available for request afterwards. We set up a separate website, which I gotta thank Tom. I won't attempt his last name. I think it's Wojciechowski or something like that. Tom kind of monitored that for any questions, and we answered the questions as a group. We had consultations with a state official that is the person who handles all the mergers, cities, towns, and that was a great input for the whole committee. We did reports to each board, not every single month I'd say, but most months to either the town and the village board. And in my opinion, this is a win for the property owner. So they could plan, and it gives the property owner options. So not to mention the Waterford as a whole. And in my opinion, this is the first step to more cooperation and working together. And we left a lot of doors open in this for more cooperation. And it also sets up a joint planning committee going in the future. So equal members from each town and village, so to address issues and to have more communication in the future. So everybody's had copies of this. Say Adam and I have lived and breathed this thing for the last year and a half. Attorneys back and forth, and you now have a copy in front of you, and I'll make a motion to approve it.
I would like to make a second and add one item if I can. I agree with everything President Houston said. One of the reasons I ever ran to be in one of these seats is I hear most often in public is people really don't care if there's town in front of Waterford or village in front of Waterford. They just believe in Waterford. This is a step in the direction of unifying 2 municipalities, their elected leaders, and show that even though there's differences in how we view things and how we may go about governing our communities, the common shared goal is all the same, that we can be one Waterford. So, like Don said, this is not by all means perfect on either side, but it's a win for the greater Waterford community and for planning going forward for everybody. This is definitely a labor of love, so I will again reaffirm my second.
Okay, any more? Janet?
I had some constituents talk to me this weekend when I was down at the park. What's the purpose? Why is this something that we wanna lock into for 2 generations? Could either of you maybe answer that.
I'll give you my opinion, then Adam for follow-up, or what?
Go ahead, you go.
The purpose of this is, just like I said, cooperation between the two. Biggest, I look at it like it's a lot of cleanup. I'll give you a perfect example, is on Highway 36. If we didn't have a contract between the town and the village as far as EMS, it depends on where you get in an accident on that intersection on Main and 36, is who gets called, meaning EMS, which is ridiculous. That is a huge life safety issue, and that's just one location where we have that, where there's a boundary down the middle of the road. Okay, which side is the car on, or, I'm not gonna go the far, but where's the person laying that needs the help? You know, that's ridiculous. That needs to get resolved and fixed forever. These arguments or disagreements about jurisdiction, back and forth, this resolves that. It gives the property owner planning, gives the village an opportunity to plan for the future as far as water and sewer. Pat's on the sewage district, Western Racine County. He understands, he's told us many times that the town doesn't have any capacity to grow their system. This gives the property owner opportunity to make the choice if they wanna come into the village. To me, this whole thing is about choices and opportunities for the property owner, and both communities to work together. There's sections in here where we, if we send out a contract, say, for instance, police service, they get an opportunity to bid on it. We don't have to give it to them, but at least they get an opportunity to bid on it. There's a lot of other pieces to this rather than just a boundary map. So that's, you wanna add
Yeah.
more to that?
Kind of what I said earlier on my motion was, this is an agreement that is beneficial to both the town of Waterford and the village of Waterford. And it shows in this agreement that you have two governing boards that have now taken the initiative to act like adults and show that they can work together. That's what this is about. This is a step in the right direction of showing the greater community that they can plan together, they can process tough decisions in front of them together, and actually do what everybody out there and everybody at home watching, and actually lead and come up with a plan for 2 generations. There was big discussion in full transparency of this process of diving in on the deep end and becoming the city of Waterford. Now, that's a lot to take on and process, but we knew that that was something that could not happen at this moment, just where things stand. So this is a plan that gives the town of Waterford and the village of Waterford direction on how they wanna guide, how they wanna live, and how they wanna plan for the next 2 generations. And it involves mutual respect and conversation on growth, development, projects, and a variety of other things.
Does that limit us from becoming a city over the next 50 years?
No, it does not.
So it just basically is gonna agree on certain areas for the agreement of the boundaries for annexation purposes, as well as EMS, fire, and first responder type, water, sewer coverage, et cetera.
Yes, I mean, that kind of sums it up. There's other pieces. There's one parcel that up on Mountain Lane that will be changed into the town from the village, because
Homeowner's front yard and driveway entrance is into town, but his house is in the village, so whenever he tries to call 911, and this has happened before, county dispatch is routing him to Tishue, right? And he's like, well, but I pay taxes in the village of Waterford, why are you routing me to Tishue? And the county's position is, because your driveway entrance to the roadway is in the town. So just historic and legacy cleanup, right? We don't service him for water and sewer. Just, there's some stuff that's happened that needs to be cleaned up with this.
is that helpful?
Yes, does, thank you.
My concern going into this whole thing, based on what happened with property rights with the Raguzzi family, can you clarify that we're not gonna handcuff future boards where property rights are gonna be issued under this boundary agreement? It's more of a clarification than a question.
With this boundary agreement, the issues, the village jurisdiction goes away outside of the village growth map. So the issue with the Raguzzi's goes away, it's up to the town.
But we're not gonna handcuff future boards. The future boards can modify the agreement.
Exactly. This gives, the way this agreement can get modified is,
Both boards.
both boards agree on it, it can't get modified over the 50 years, it's not set. It's set in stone, if both boards agree to change it, you can, like the city, both boards would have to agree to change it. And that's any changes that would happen. But for that huge thing that a lot of people have heard with the Raguses and extraterritorial jurisdiction, anything outside of the village growth map, the village will no longer have extraterritorial
plat review.
jurisdiction. Plat review.
You need to call 911?
Can I ask a question?
Yes?
I really appreciate all the work you guys did. I really appreciate the cooperation that came from the town side with Tom, and Dale, and Doug. And I was at 3 of the 4 listening sessions, 1 being at the town, 2 being at the high school. And all through the process, it seemed to me, as someone that wasn't on the select committee but was there to listen on behalf of the village of Waterford, that this whole process was extremely transparent. Things were talked about from both town and village that led to all of the different caveats that are now in this cooperative boundary agreement. I appreciate all that work, and it feels tonight like our board is ready to pass this into motion. What is the next step? What takes place next in order to make this agreement fully solidified?
First of all, the town board has it on its agenda tonight also.
Oh,
The next step, it goes, after we get it passed, it goes into the state for the state review. It's at least 90 days, is that something like
Yeah,
that?
if the town and our board chooses to pass this tonight, if it's handed off to the DOA, I believe it's 90 days they have to review. They will hold a public hearing for the communities. And then within those 90 days, they will hold that and then review this agreement. We have been in work with a gentleman from the DOA, Eric Schmicky, who works on these daily. So he is aware that this has been in process. We've had meetings with him. He, thinks the document is very good. Thinks his first comment was, just the same Waterford we were dealing with it with your battles 2 years ago, 3 years ago. With the incorporation and the battle between the two communities, because he said, we never thought we'd see you guys at the table again. So to be talking about a city, and we threw that out there a few times, much less doing this, he said, this gives anybody in the state of Wisconsin hope that neighbors can work together. And we took that as a kind of a badge. So it will go off to the state. I think it's a huge thing. And one thing I want to add to that was, the state does not mandate that we have any of our own public meetings. And we held 3. And then we held a 4th for the individual owners that could potentially be affected positively in that new map. So that says a lot too, going back to Eric from the state. He said, you guys are kind of a role model of how people should do this. And we thought, wow, that's awesome to hear after all the negativity that was out there, that we can't work together. So this will go off to the state if we pass it and the town passes it tonight, and we feel pretty confident as a committee that that will get the green light at the state level.
so we're one part of 3 pieces. It's us, it's town, and then it's the state Department of Adjustment?
Administration.
Administration.
And if they approve it, if they have some changes or something, they don't have to come back to us to approve those changes. But if they don't have any changes, they approve it as is, then it becomes.
Working with this Eric along the way, it should seem though streamlined and pretty transparent through that process too.
It should seem that, and we also worked with Stan Riffle, that's what he does, his law firm does that. So he's the one that wrote up all the, we basically came up with all the points, how we wanted to handle things, and he put it all in legalese and actually we went back and changed a lot of it because we want to say what we wanted to say, and we wanted to make it more plain, rather than the legally type of situation, even though this document is legal. But we did change a lot of stuff where we wanted to make it more clear, rather than less clear, even though the point of law is the point of law, but we still put in words like the town, village, and a bunch of other words that, so people could understand it, and we could all understand it, but there's nothing to hide here, this is, and most of these, none of these are new. Yeah, this is December, and we had a goal at the beginning of the year to try to get it all done. If you don't set a goal, you don't, it might be years.
Right.
So, but most of these, if you look back at our listening sessions, all, our map, the village growth map was dated July, I think. These are not new things. Most of the PowerPoint was all the same, every listening session, but obviously there's a lot of little stuff and other stuff like the EMS boundaries and stuff we had to work out, and some of the road boundaries the engineers helped us with, and the DPW that we wanted to make sure that, got fixed in this. We didn't forget something, so.
So we're pretty hopeful by Q2 of 2025, this will be etched in stone.
It should be Q1, yeah, hope so.
And I wanna say one quick thing to Andy's comment about the property handcuffs and issues. This, and I want everybody out there to hear this addresses the property issues that have been an issue with certain families and their land in this community for a while now. And we got to that point because of some really stupid ass mistakes on both boards, and I'll say that out loud. Bad mistakes in the town, bad mistakes by us on this board to get to that point. But this is proof that we can move past that, craft a mutually beneficial agreement to both, and get back to letting people do what they need to do with their property and wanna do with their property. And not handcuff them, as you said, or boards to issues down the road. So, this hell of a lot of work went into this across the five, and I said today in kind of our last meeting before this vote, Dale and Doug have now become friends of mine, not just counterparts as a different elected official. They are genuinely interested in what's best for all of Waterford, not just the town of Waterford.
Great work.
No, I was just saying about the farm thing. I got a question. In the village growth area, what are the restrictions gonna be on the landowners there? Because that's not defined. Because it went from a 20, extraterritorial restrictions, we put it was 20 acres, and now anyone that's in the growth area, it's kind of gray area. It says, it's up to the village now. So what restrictions do you guys see? What restrictions do you guys see? And I'm one of the landowners now, by the way.
Well, first of all, until we repeal the 20 acre, it stays in effect until this board goes back and repeals it, changes it. But according to the agreement, that actually the landowner can petition the village to separate it if we get rid of the 20 acre jurisdiction. You're basically leaving it up to this board and plan commission to make that decision, whether to cut it off 5 acres, cut off 2, whatever. So it leaves it more of a, what makes sense and what makes sense for the sewer and water infrastructure and that type of thing. Each property's different, let's get real. You can't put a blanket saying.
I just want to make sure that, there wasn't gonna be another 20 acre,
Pat,
minimum on that.
if this is adopted, the village will need to revisit Vision Water for 2018 and its land planning, right? So that'll, it's not technically a requirement of the state, but of something of this magnitude, it's something that we should do, and we're coming due in just a couple of years anyway to do it all over again anyhow. It really is intended to be a planning tool by way of agreement between the parties, and that Vision Water for 2018 document is what the state requires of us in order to plan effectively. So are we gonna have low density development areas, high density development areas, commercial areas, industrial areas, agricultural areas, all that stuff that you guys need to contemplate and figure out what goes where and why and how.
The village is basically overseeing the land instead of the town. It'd be the only change would be on that growth area.
No, there's a dual overlap, so zoning is still administered by the town until such a time that an annexation takes place,
Even in the growth areas?
even in the growth areas. Did they waive zoning authority?
They waive zoning authority, but according to the agreement, from understanding correctly.
Plat review.
The plat, yes.
Yeah, so
We still
plat
have
and
that.
zoning are two different things legally.
Alright.
Okay. No more questions? We'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Zeke, we have closed session tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay, consider a motion to convene into executive session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statutes, section 1985, considering the employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business, whether competitive bargaining reasons require a closed session. I need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
I'll second.
Nash,
Roll call.
Colbammer,
Aye.
Polna,
Aye.
Houston,
Aye.
Reynolds,
Aye.
Jaskey.
Aye.
Ewing.
Aye.
We're in closed session.